From the time I was little, I always thought of my parents as my biggest cheerleaders. Every dance recital, every art show, every small milestone, they were there, clapping louder than anyone else. Or at least, that's what I thought until life started handing out bigger events. Because as I grew older, it became increasingly obvious that when it came to me and my brother Matt, the scales were never balanced. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video? Matt could do no wrong. If he got a promotion at work, it was a family celebration. If I published an article, it got a casual, "That's nice, honey." If Matt bought a grill, there were fireworks. If I bought my first car, it was just another Tuesday. I told myself for years that it didn't matter, that love doesn't always look the same for everyone. But some wounds, if ignored long enough, find a way to burst open. When I got engaged to Luke, I dared to believe that maybe this time would be different. Luke was kind, successful, and treated me like I was the only woman in the world. My parents seemed happy for me at first. We had an awkward but pleasant dinner where they congratulated us, asked about the wedding plans, even suggested a few venues. I clung to that hope. I ignored the little hints. My mom forgetting the date. My dad complaining about flights and hotel costs even though the wedding was just a 2-hour drive away. I told myself they'd come around. They always came around, right? 3 months before the wedding, during a casual family gathering, Matt announced he was planning a huge barbecue party for the same weekend. "It's gonna be epic," he said, face beaming. "Everyone from the neighborhood is coming. Food trucks, games, the whole 9 yards." I laughed politely, waiting for someone to point out that my wedding was already scheduled. No one did. 2 weeks before my wedding, the truth dropped like a guillotine. I called my mom to confirm some final details, seating charts, their arrival time, when she sighed and said, "About that, honey. We won't be able to come." My stomach dropped. "What?" I managed to whisper. "Well, Matt's barbecue is that weekend, remember? And he's counting on us. We already promised we'd help set up." She said it as if it were the most reasonable thing in the world. As if my wedding, my once-in-a-lifetime wedding, was an optional event they could easily skip. I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, mouth open in disbelief. My brain couldn't process it. I waited for her to laugh, to say she was joking, to tell me of course they'd be there for me. But the silence stretched on, awkward and final. When I asked my dad, hoping he'd see reason, he simply said, "You know how Matt is. He'll be crushed if we miss his party. It's not personal." Not personal? It felt incredibly personal. I was their daughter who had begged for their attention her whole life, who had excused every slight, every forgotten birthday, every missed school play because surely, deep down, they loved me just as much. I didn't sleep the night after that call. I kept replaying memories from childhood. All the times I sat in the bleachers alone while Matt got flowers and cheers. All the times I swallowed disappointment because Matt needs more attention right now. And now, they were proving, once and for all, that Matt's hamburger cookout mattered more than witnessing me marry the love of my life. In the days leading up to the wedding, friends and family asked if my parents would be attending. I gave vague, rehearsed answers, not wanting to admit the truth. I plastered on smiles during dress fittings and cake tastings, but every moment was tinged with sadness. Luke noticed, of course, and he held me when I broke down crying in the kitchen the night before the rehearsal dinner. "We don't need them to make this perfect," he said. "We'll make new memories. Our memories." Our wedding day arrived, and it was stunning. Golden sunlight filtered through the trees. My friends, my grandparents, Luke's wonderful family, they all showed up, full of joy, love, and support. My heart swelled and broke at the same time when I walked down the aisle without my father's arm to lean on. When I stood there, hand in hand with Luke, saying the vows we had written from our hearts, I realized something crucial. I was no longer the little girl waiting for her parents' approval. I was a woman building a new life, one that didn't include begging for a seat at a table where I was never truly wanted. But deep in my chest, a new feeling had taken root. Not bitterness, not anger. A cold, quiet resolve. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want to scream or fight. No, I wanted something they would actually feel. I wanted them to understand what it meant to miss out, not just on one day, on everything. So I began to plan, carefully, thoughtfully, with the same patience I once used waiting for their attention. This time, I wasn't waiting for anything. This time, I was the one making decisions. And when the moment came, they would realize, maybe too late, just what they had thrown away. I didn't call them after the wedding. I didn't send them pictures. No thank you cards were needed because there was nothing to thank them for. For the first time in my life, I didn't chase them, didn't beg for scraps of attention. I simply disappeared from their lives with the same quiet dismissal they had shown me. Weeks turned into months. I built a new rhythm with Luke, filled with Sunday morning coffee runs, spontaneous road trips, and lazy afternoons painting in the sunroom he had helped turn into my studio. His parents embraced me so warmly it sometimes hurt, a reminder of what I had missed growing up, but the pain softened when I remembered. I was living the life I had always wanted. One where I was enough just as I was. Then the real turning point arrived. Luke and I had been quietly working on a project together, a dream that seemed too fragile to speak aloud for months. We started our own art gallery, not just to display my work, but also to give new, unknown artists a platform to shine. We poured our savings into it. We renovated an old brick building downtown, polished the wood floors, installed huge windows to catch the morning light. It was more than a gallery, it was a declaration. When the grand opening date approached, Luke suggested inviting my parents. They should see this, he said gently. I thought about it for a long time. And finally, I sent them a simple invitation. No call, no explanation, just an elegant formal card. You are cordially invited to the opening of Second Light Gallery, Saturday, 5 p.m. No hint that I was the co-founder, no hint that this was the biggest thing I had ever done. I didn't expect them to come. Part of me hoped they wouldn't. But old habits die hard. When it came to Matt, they never missed an event that might earn them bragging rights. The day of the opening, the gallery buzzed with excitement. Local artists, reporters, friends, and art lovers filled the space. My paintings hung along the largest wall, bold and unapologetic, each piece telling a story of resilience, of loss, of found family. Luke gave a short speech, thanking everyone for believing in a dream that had started with a girl, a broken heart, and a whole lot of paint. And then, just as the crowd erupted into applause, I saw them, my parents, standing awkwardly by the entrance. For a moment, time froze. My mother's eyes were wide, scanning the room, taking in the press badges, the crowd, the lavish attention I was receiving. My father's mouth tightened when he saw my name written in gold lettering on the gallery's main plaque. Founder and lead artist, Emily Carter. They approached cautiously, as if unsure whether they even belonged in this new world I had built. Emily, my mother said, voice trembling, this is incredible. We had no idea. My father cleared his throat. You should have told us. We would have been here for you. I smiled, a small, polite smile. Not angry, not sad, just different. I figured you'd be too busy, I said softly. After all, Matt's barbecue was pretty important. Their faces paled. My words weren't sharp or loud, but they struck with the precision of a blade honed over years of neglect. For the rest of the night, they hovered at the edges of the crowd, invisible in a room where they had no roots, no history, no credit for anything that blossomed there. People they didn't know congratulated me, shook my hand, praised my art. Luke's parents hugged me tightly, introduced me to their friends like I was their own daughter. My parents watched it all, separated by more than just the few feet of polished wood floor between us. Separated by years of small betrayals they probably never even noticed. Separated by the realization that they hadn't just missed my wedding. They had missed me growing into someone extraordinary. Before the night ended, my mother made one last attempt. Can we talk sometime? Maybe have dinner? Catch up? She asked, almost pleading. I looked at her for a long moment, weighing years of heartache in the span of a heartbeat. Maybe, I said finally, my voice calm. Sure. But it'll have to wait. I'm really busy building my life. And with that, I turned back to the people who had shown up, really shown up, for me. My parents had chosen a barbecue over a wedding. Now they'd have to watch from the sidelines as I built a future they would never fully be a part of. They hadn't just missed a party, they had missed the only daughter who had ever truly needed them. And I had finally realized I didn't